Hello everybody, a warm welcome back to the channel. I'm Grant from CPT. Today we're going to have our hands full. We're back in the gigantic Gulfstream 550, one of my jets here in the hangar. We're actually in my new hangar today, and that's why we're flying from Mannheim Airport. So the Gulfstream 550 is something I actually acquired before Christmas, and I've been really enjoying it. I did a flight last night in it just to get reacquainted after a little break. And it really is quite a pleasure to just, operate. So yeah, Mannheim Airport, my new hangar. It is a little bit of a small airport for this kind of plane, but because we're not going to be flying out of here for the majority of the time with a big passenger count and a lot of baggage, we're not going to be struggling. So the biggest challenge today is probably going to be the fact that Mannheim Airport has a 3,400 feet runway, and the Gulfstream 550 needs something like 6,000 feet. Now that's if it was fully loaded, so it still needs a considerable amount, almost like an airliner. So it's going to be good to see it. It did work last night when I flew out. I had absolutely no issues with 20 degrees of flaps and doing the old power setting before brakes off sort of thing. So we're going to get in with it, and I'm going to crack on just with a quick pre-flight inspection here and just get some of these things removed. Just take a general note of the gear and things, and when we've done this, we'll hop in and get our flight plan done. Our first route is here from Mannheim, Germany to Lyme, also known as Milano. And from there, we're going to do a quick turnaround and then continue on to final destination, Nice in France. I hope everybody's really enjoying this. It seems to be a semi-popular plane on the channel. There's not many people doing flights on it, to be fair. But it's certainly a very, very memorable experience. Let's go ahead and check some of these ailerons. As you can see, the size of it is absolutely huge. I still can't get over how big it is. It's also very smooth. You'll notice there's not many, there's no rivet details. There's nothing like that. It's, in general, a very clean design. It's been aerodynamically put through its paces, let's put it that way. Even the engines are very smooth, so you will find no drag on the outside of them. Let's go ahead and get the wheels off here. There's little pin locks underneath. Same thing for the aileron, just a quick check. And of course static wicks. And whatever's been modelled, I guess. Gulfstream are probably one of the few aircraft manufacturers that don't allow the planes to be made in a flight sim, so I still applaud the developer here for doing a fantastic job. And of course, these things along the side are lights. Alright, let's hop into this plane. We're going to get these lights on the stairs in a minute for the people, because they're going to be coming to us. Okay, we're in the cockpit. We're just going to do a quick cabin check. Just make sure everything's good. We're going to get the rear cargo door open. I'm going to get that ready for loading. So into the back, perhaps through the cabin. First of all, we'll go to this nice little bathroom. Okay, so it looks like there's some baggage on board. We're going to open the door anyway, because we may need to change it out. And of course, we can shut that again. The key thing, I think, with corporate, and we are flying Grant from corporate today, my own company, is the fact that you want to keep people happy, and you want to make them at least have a semi-professional trip. So that's what we're going to do. Beautiful, beautiful cockpit. In we go. We're going to get on with it. May as well get on with the checklist stuff first, or we can bring up our flight plan. So I have in fact linked with my account. Now, I don't know if this will work or not. I don't know how to get it to connect here. So if you connect it with SimBrief, I think the idea is to have it load up an Avitab, but again, I'm not sure how to use that feature. First of all, we're going to check the actual airport, some of the weather conditions. As I have checked the weather online, it seems fairly calm. 1002 on the QNH. Let's get that up. Now, let's go into our flight plan. Actually, no. What we're going to do is going to work through this same way I did it last night, pretty much. And then we're going to crack on with fuel and balance when the time comes. So everything here looks like it's in the opposition. The plane does tend to start in the cold and dark. I haven't tested it, but every time I shut it down properly, I haven't left anything on to see if it will remain on. So that'll be good. So circuit breakers, these are not modelled, but they're on the overhead panel, so everything is popped in. Emergency power check. It's one way you can do it, I guess. Electrical power control panel. So that would usually be down here. In that case, we're going to get the GPU now. It's been tending to bring the wrong GPU, so when I click that, it will bring the game's GPU to me, which I always find very, very strange. So it must be calling it over at the same time or something. As you can see there, dismissed, so it's calling over at the same time, which is not very useful. And the main door lights. Connect that with the ground power. Brilliant. Batteries coming on. Let's get some lights on in here. And of course, the familiar Gulfstream 550 warning system, which we're probably going to hear quite a lot of today during the course of this flight. Hey, circuit breakers. There's lots of a background light there. We can turn that on, I guess. And there's some lights down here we need to adjust as well. So floor console stuff, lights. Some of it will be on the yoke. Well, always very good though to have these lights on in flight. Good practice to be able to see what you are doing. Of course, we shouldn't touch any electronics during the power up phase, as you can see there on the computer screen. So keep that off. Cabin galley 60 Hz coming on. MFD displays norm. Okay, so aircraft is coming alive now. Probably the IRS. Yeah, IRS next because the crankmaster is already off. So IRS down here is realistic time, by the way, and it does take quite a while. I found it takes longer than a 737 to get it to work. Fire detection fault test. So there's quite a few up here. Seems to be functional. And then because we have all these system tests, fuel. What you should do is you should really check the enunciation and the illumination warning down here, because if you're just pressing the light, you don't know if it's going to be illuminated or anything or not. So, but anyway, the enunciation panel works. So if we click smoke detection, we go down there, we can see that it detected aft baggage smoke, which is very, very useful. Same as ice protection. And same as fuel. So today we're going to have enough fuel. I am using SimBrief. It does tend to give me the wrong amounts, but I trust it on this one. We already have, you know, 9,500 in. I don't think it saves your fuel level from previous flights, actually, to be fair. I initially believed it did, but it doesn't seem to be doing so. Unless there's a glitch there in that. So we did the fire test. System panel test is sort of like completed, isn't it? So it's fuel quantity imbalance is 9,500. Windshield heats and stuff is off. Fuel return set to automatic. Clocks is set local time. Flight guidance panel. That's this thing up here, I'm assuming. That's all set. Flap indication is up and off. Emergency gear handle. So it can be a little bit tricky to find some of these things like the emergency gear handle. To be fair, I'm not too sure where it is either. So it's gear handle is there. Modern planes are a little bit more complicated. There doesn't seem to be one modelled, I don't think, unless I'm missing it. I'm probably missing it. Fire handles are down. Speed brake is retracted. Train inhibit is off. Everything is where it needs to be, I think. Ground spoilers off. Radio tuning right. What we're going to do today is going to be using... I was going to use the network, but then I figured, well, what would it be like to actually use X-Plane 12 default ATC? So I want to use the default ATC for it. So what we're going to do, let's go for our... That's the cockpit preparation, by the way. It's pretty simple on the checklist. There's still a little good checklist, but pretty simple. Okay, pre-flight complete parking brake. So for the parking brake, we really do need to get hydraulics to be armed, or at least on, so we can pump the fluid around and get them charged. So let's go ahead and do that. I guess check it here on brakes. So as you can see there, the power in the brakes is charging up. Full pressure is good. Let's get the parking brake on. Now, since it's full pressure, I'm going to leave the hydraulics on anyway. Pins and covers removed. PCU, I don't know where the PCU is. We've got a TRU up there. We'll assume it's armed anyway. Auxiliary pump is armed. We've just turned them on, so let's keep them unarmed. Emergency power. So emergency power of this aircraft is a little bit strange. You'll only be able to turn it on, but then when you arm it, there'll be no illumination, which I'd like to see. Emergency power, bleed air. So bleed air, we're going to get the bleed air on the engines. We'll leave the packs off for now. All the anti-ice is off. Fuel system panel. So there's a refueling thing back here, but it's been checked anyway. Oxygen masks, crew oxygen and oxygen masks are functional in this, so they're just to the side. And it will in fact put the oxygen mask on for X-Plane 12, so that's good. Nose wheel steering down here, let's get that off for ground crew. Pedal steering is out, landing gear handle is down with 3 greens. I swear when I was doing this checklist last night there was a thing here about doing the flight plan, unless it's this. So fuel control switches in the cut-off position, fuel quantity, we're going to do that soon. So this is all of the departure briefing. Right, we're going to bring up our flight plan now. So this is our flight plan from to Milano. We are going to need a considerable amount of fuel, I'm assuming. I want to try and take the whole amount of fuel on board that we need. So we only need 2,300 there. We only need 992 for the trip. So with 9,500, we've probably got enough to get us all the way to Nice and back. So in terms of refueling, we don't need to do anything. Cruise level today is 29,000 and then up to 31. So a bit of a step climb in there. Next, 3 Charlie departure and then the Dino 5 Sierra. Okay, so let's get the weight and balance. So 12 packs on board. So this is where things get important for weight and balance. So we go back onto the menu. It's got a very conveniently built-in thing. We're going to load up 12 people. You can see 720 is coming up. And if we click on the flight plan again, it'll give us the baggage of about 300. So the payload there is about 1,000, which is not, again, not too bad. 300 low cargo. You got to wonder what these people are bringing with them. That's a lot, isn't it? But yeah, that's as simple as that. We're going to need this flight plan to look at cruise winds and other things like that, and obviously the flight plan itself, which we need to copy and give to ATC. So let's go ahead and do that. I have found, as I say, on the network, but I would like to try this with the default one and see how it goes on a stream. So there's the top of climb winds. What we got here, 31,000. Pretty bad actually. So 70 knots, minus 50. So pretty severe. Might be a little bit turbulent. I've already checked the weather, and over the Alps it is looking a little bit on the rough side. When I was flying last night, the aircraft can handle it well, and it was managing its thrust setting well, but sometimes you do need to take control and get it sorted. So that's payload there about 1,020. What we're going to do is we're going to set the board in and get people on board. Cabin lights. Let's get the downwash. Vestibule lights. I can't remember if I use them very often or not. Seems to have illuminated the cabin though, as you can see, sort of see what's going on. Fuel quantity required on board. So because we've not required any fuel, we don't need to take a load sheet. V speeds and FMS. Let's get a flight plan filed, and we'll copy and paste this into the flight plan. So you can see there's no need to put the destination runway, but you do need to put the destination and the arrival, I think. 31,000 feet. You can see that's registered, and I did manage to find a Gulfstream 550 aircraft last night, and there is one built into X-Plane 12 with ATC management, which is fantastic. Olympicas are alternate, so we fire the flight plan. So again, it might be because we put some unknown things in here which it doesn't recognise, and that's what is causing the issue. But it has come up with the arrival pretty well. In that case then, it looks like we probably will have to use the online network. It's not a problem. November 345 Lima Charlie. The aircraft type G550, Gulfstream 550. Right, since we can't get clearance, I don't think, because there's no ATC, we're going to have to go to the 122.8. And it's not the best way to tune radios, this. I don't particularly like it. The aircraft, you know, could do with a radio stack next to me to tune these. Right, 122.8, let's make that active. Let's get on with the FMC. So hopefully this will activate the position and initialize some of those screens at the same time. But as I say, it does take a while. So if we want to load flight plan, we can do, but in this case we're just going to use the one we've made on SimBrief. Okay, Lime, and then we can do our departure. So we're going to bring up a departure up, and it's the Linux 3 Charlie, probably runway 09. Okay, so in this case we've not got an updated information. We've only got the Linux 3. It says Linux 3 Charlie, but it's not spelled correctly. No transition in there.
Boarding completed and main door closed.
There goes the bus, just dropped the passengers off. Okay, the Linux, let's go for the arrival after we program this in. So, Linux. And it usually is pretty good at coming up with all the altitudes as well that you need. And then airways can't be put into this, so it's a case of just putting the waypoints. And then the Adena. The arrival. Adena 5 Sierra is in there, thankfully. No transition. For runway 10, we'll put runway 10 in when we get a bit closer and just see how that goes. 'Cause it's not a very long flight, this. It's only 45 minutes apparently, so we've got a lot of time to do it. Yeah, Linux, down to Adena. All the altitudes are in there, should be 31,000. Everything's loaded, so we can do the performance planning. Okay, transition level is 5,000 feet. We're just going to go straight to 31,000 if we can do. The ISA deviation speed limit is there. Okay, cargo, so 300. Usually we get a load sheet as well if you did fuel, so that would give you a more accurate amount. It does take it direct from the gauge, and as I say, I think it was saving the fuel amount between sessions before Christmas, but now it doesn't seem to be doing so. Passenger weight, so we have 12 people on board, about 760 I think it was, 720, and that's the gross weight there. Maximum weight is pretty close to that actually, so small margin. Okay, so VNAV, this might be because we've done something incorrect. Performance cruise. Okay, outside air temperature is very cold today, as you can imagine. Usually it would appear here on the map. In that case, we'll get it off of the X-plane map. And another thing you can do is on this. I think we talked about this before. If you go into flight planning and just type your airport name, EDFM, print off the METAR for the local airport. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, that's the fuel quantity. The V-speeds will be calculated and briefings. So we got 130 at 6 knots on the wind. Temperature's not too easy to find. Sometimes I like to look at this one instead. It gives you a bit of an accurate one. So the temperature here is 5 degrees. And that is kind of important for takeoff performance. So everything else is good. We've not got very long on the runway, as I say. It's saying about 10,000, but it's not that long, everybody. It's about 3,400 feet. Let's just see if we could change that to the right amount. I think that's in meters, isn't it? So meters is correct. Okay, obstacles. There are obstacles in the sort of vicinity of the runway, which is something we take into consideration. I don't know how to change this. 20 degrees of flaps, we're going to need it. Let's confirm this for takeoff. So this might just say confirm V-speeds, check V-speeds, which we will do in a sec. 113, 122, so let's go into our performance calculator. Read data from sim, and it's about the same there as well. Flight reference is given as a site, and we're going to do auto speed and takeoff. Okay, so the flight plan is done. The V-speeds are calculated. Briefing will be obviously 20 degrees of flaps. I'm going to be flying that departure there, so let's get the departure up as well. This is all very important. Runway 09. Renix free Charlie departure. Using SharpFox, by the way, is completely free to use. I highly recommend it. Okay, so fairly straightforward. It doesn't look in, it's not the clearest of writing, but you can just do that and see Renix 3 there. So we're going to do that right hand turnout. There's the airport. We're going to do a right hand turnout 091 and then to 147 and then to 262 and then almost to Lime Airport with altitude restrictions, I hope. Watch out for VFR traffic. Okay, so extensive glider activity. That's probably because the airport route has a grass runway and it operates with gliders and balloons. That is a real world thing. I think that's pretty good though in the departure. I don't think we're going to have that kind of traffic today, so we don't need to worry too much. So briefing for the departure is complete. In terms of the taxi route, it's pretty simple airport, as you can see on the map. You know, there's runway 09, so we'll probably taxi via Delta and then turn around on 09 as required. Okay, engine start checklist. We're going to get some lights on here. Let's get a nav and beacon and logo lights on. No smoke in the seatbelt signs. Let's get the fuel pumps on. We're going to get the APU on now, everybody. APU start. There it is, coming alive. Get the bleed air on, and we're going to check the system. So I like to have the bleed air on one of these, preferably on this left hand side so we can see it. You can see there, bleed air is coming in. Let's do it on the big one instead, while we wait for this computer system to initialize. There's the APU kicking the air through the system, and then they'll come into the air conditioner if we need it. Could have set the air conditioner on while we wait, but we're going to leave it for now. So anyway, parking brake is set 2000 psi. Is on the sort of amount there. Chocks are, I think, removed. Let's just try the ground thing. Yeah, ground removed. Let's get the APU power on and disconnect ground power. Seatbelts are secured, power levers, reversers are idle. I am using the conversion configuration for this flight because this plane has some really big, obviously, throttles, and it just suits it very well. The only planes I use my commercial configuration on are this one and, you know, the airliners, so that's not much use there. Seatbelts, the beacon is on, doors are closed. We're going to secure the door up here, is door safety switch. And we'll just make sure everything else is on where it needs to be. Got the main fuel pumps on there. Let's just keep that on for the startup. Hydraulics, so hydraulic levels. Really detailed. Some detailed information here. We'll give you the quantity and things like that. You could also test the flight controls. For the engine start, we are going to be pulling out onto the outside here. We're not going to be started up inside the hangar. Hydraulics are 3000 psi anyway, we can see that. And then LR TGT within 60 degrees, so TGT is within 60 degrees on there as well. Let's bring in the engine controls here, so fuel flow. Fuel flow is good. And then there's not much information there about what to do next, so before engine start, miss the items such as, you know, Thrustmaster and things like that, but you have to just sort of figure that out for yourself because it doesn't tell you, so you'll learn over time what works and what doesn't. Check for ATC. Got a little bit of time left before we have to depart. Okay, ATC is non-existent at the moment. Quite a lot of preparation for this flight, isn't there? I love it though. I love taking my time on these sims and just having a relaxing flight. The last night, that flight, if you've seen the photo I posted on the post there, it was just great just to hop in late at night and get reacquainted with it. So yeah, all we're waiting for now is these computer screens to just come alive and give us some information. This one seems to be giving us our flight plan over here. Let's get our weather radar to stand by as well and hope that can work during the flight. Okay, so maps initialized. I think that's all good. Let's check the LNAV and VNAV. So VNAV's not coming alive yet. It's not set the altitude, that's why. 31,000 feet. And we're going to be on a course of 090. We'll just put that for now, so wait and see what happens. Navigation source is important. We need that on FMS1. As you can see, this has come alive now. VNAV isn't working yet. So when I departed last night, there was no issues on the VNAV engaging. So that could indicate again that something is wrong. Yeah, performance. So last night no issues, but today some problems. And I think this inconsistency can either be me making a mistake or not doing it in the correct order. If you have the same problems yourself, I'm going to check it. Maybe because we're not entered any data here, so we're going to set that now. So 250 at. We're going to initialize our position initially to 5,000 because that's what it says. Let's do 220 over. So you can see there, sort of doing it myself. But there will be step climbs in the plan that will tell you where to go on the higher up levels, but I don't think we're going to be able to get to 31,000 from where we are. $200 to 2,000. Now hopefully that works. That's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's as good as I can do. No, still no VNAV, so we may have to wait till we're in the air for that. That's fine. It means there's no V speeds at the moment. So flight ref. Auto speed is on. Right, engine start, let's go for it. We're going to taxi, just push ourselves out here a little bit. We can't do it backwards, can we? So, let's try the better pushback for this one. Then again, let's not. Let's just do engine start. So we're going to do Thrustmaster on the right. Okay, fuel lever cut into the introduced fuel. See the ignition there, the SVO. Very hard to see the beacon on this thing. So that's another right engine. Let's go for the left engine. So you see, coming alive, coming alive. Keep the fuel in. See there, the ECS, so the environmental control system. Now the engine's started, let's get the packs on. Packs are up here. Straight into the cabin at 6 degrees, hopefully it'll warm up a little bit. APU bleed air off. APU generator power off, and we're going to just leave the APU on a little bit longer. But yeah, the EC is warming up now. As you can see there, probably get up to 22 degrees, and we can adjust that as required. I'm going to adjust it actually to 20 degrees here for the cockpit and for the first sort of forward cabin, and then the rear can be 22 because it's always a little bit colder at the back, I find, in these sort of planes. Yeah, so flight controls. Let's do this. Checklist. Engine instruments are checked. Thrustmaster is off. Electrical power control babe was set. Boost pumps. All boost pumps on. Bleed air panel. So bleed air is coming for the engine straight into the packs, which is great. Anti-ice and windshield heat. So let's get the pitos on. Windshields. Cabin window heat as well. You can also have a windshield blower. I would only use that when it's raining though, to be fair. Ground spoiler checked in the off position, yes. Flight control, speed brake, check retracted, right. Ailerons. Elevators, and got some rudder control. Free and loose movement. Ground spoilers off, so check retracted on the spoilers as well. That's fine. Now we're going to activate the plane's nose wheel steering for the taxi. Nose wheel steering activated. Flight guidance panel, so we can't set VNAV yet. Again, I had no issues last night, so we'll wait and see. Maybe because it's a different departure than last night, and it's a bit of a steeper turn on departure. Flaps, we're going to do 20 degrees of flaps. Let's do a flap check now, make sure they're all working. Trims, so trims, we go back to performance calculator, very handy. Takeoff trim 10.4%. 10.4% is set. Transponder is on mode, so we're going to transpond a random score code, so 4532. Put it onto TA mode only. It says put it onto TARA, but we're only going to be taxiing initially. Interior doors are secure. The cabin door is secure with the safety switch. The pressurization is still on landing. We should probably put that in takeoff mode. Taxi, brakes, thrust reverse checked. Let's check that. Set our thrust before we taxi out. Carline anti-ice required. Cabin pressure, so we put that on flight now, everybody. I thought it was. APU bleed is off, and then APU come off as well. We're ready to taxi, so taxi light's coming on. Missing items on the checklist doesn't mean you're going to have a difficult time, and doesn't mean you're going to struggle. The key is to just learn the aircraft with patience and take your time with it. You know, don't rush it. It's got checklist. You can also find the information online. If you haven't flown a plane before, you know, you probably want to start with something smaller and then work up. Area is clear. Let's get parking brake released. We're going to be taxiing via Delta. Very tight spaces here, and my new hangar. I am enjoying this airport. It's fantastic. You'll see there's a lot of ground vehicles here. So you got like a follow me car there, almost in an airport safety car, and then in there as well you got some of the same things. They've also got a fantastic fire station, which is extremely useful for this kind of thing and keeping us safe. So really well made. I think it may be a custom airport by the community, because I haven't seen anything like this before in X-Wing 12. Then again, it could be the developers, so we'll never make the assumptions really. Anyway, Q&H, we haven't got the Q&H. 1002. Right, check. Q&H is set. Yeah, last night I taxied from a little bit of an easy space. I was parked outside that hangar over there, and it was easy to get to the runway, and it's a lot easier to taxi, but this one's still fine for our mission. Yeah, that hangar right over there, that wide one. We weren't in it, but we were just outside where we had our sort of aircraft check prior to flight. So here we are down Alpha and then Delta. There's only one way in or off this runway, so you've got to be kind of cautious of rubbish traffic. There is a lay-by and a pull-over zone there for crossing traffic and things. And there's actually 2 grass runways at this airport. I think in real life it might be 1, but one's for gliding and GA aircraft, of course, and balloons. And then of course the concrete one is for small commercial operations. This aircraft isn't too far out of the ballpark. It can operate from this airport. It's just it can't go from this airport with full weight and balance on there, so can't have full packs and full weight on it. Going to hold short here. We're going to just do a little bit of a check. We are going to be crossing an active runway, so we need our strobes on. We probably do need to keep our logo lights on for now. Okay, we're going to cross runway 09er. Mannheim traffic, November 345 Lima Charlie, back crossing runway 09er, taxiing 09 via Delta. Don't think we've got any ATC yet, but we'll wait and see when we get to Lima Airport. Let's do the announcement for the safety demonstration.
We would like to familiarize you with this aircraft. Please use caution when approaching the aircraft and be aware of static works, jet blast, and aircraft movements. In the interest of safety, please observe the seatbelt and no smoking signs. Fasten your seatbelt by inserting the buckle into the flap. Appearance is a common safety concern for the flight crew. Please refrain from using mobile devices until the seatbelt sign is turned off. Stow tables and carry-on luggage for takeoffs and landings. Adjust your seat back to the full upright position and track your seat outboard. In the unlikely event of cabin depressurization, an oxygen mask will automatically drop from the compartment above your seats. Pull the mask down to the full length of the tubing and place over your nose and mouth. As the oxygen will be flowing freely, please breathe normally. Smoke hoods are located under the base of the seats. Locate and pull the tab to release the smoke hood from under the seat. Should smoke enter the cabin, unzip the soft case bag and remove the filter from the vacuum sealed bag. Pull out the 2 red rubber filter caps and place the hood over your head. Firmly tighten the head strap and breathe normally. Fire extinguishers, first aid kit, and AED unit are located in the front cabin closet. Please take a moment to observe the emergency window exits on the sides of the cabin. Each is clearly marked and can be opened by pulling the emergency exit T-handle down, and then pulling the window by the handle inward. Exit the aircraft by stepping through the escape hatch onto the wing. The main entry door, which you use to enter the aircraft, can also be used as an emergency exit. It will open outward, and instructions on its use are located on a placard attached to the door. Life vests are located in the seat bases. Remove the vest from its protective cover and place it over your head with the inflation chambers over your chest. The waist straps should extend down the middle of your back. Grasp these straps and snap the buckles together. Pull each string until it is tight. The red tag cords below each inflation chamber are pulled downward to inflate each chamber.
Okay, pre-departure briefing everybody. We've got the Renix 3 Charlie departure from Mannheim Airport here. A little bit of a short runway, so we're going to set our flaps as we predicted, and we've planned for 20 degrees, so cabin is secure. They are currently going through their safety briefing now. The radar is going to come on. Let's hope this works. So if we go on here, we have kept it on standby, so let's see if it will come on. Let's put it to test mode. No, so it still won't work even when it's on standby for quite a while. Actually, it still says it's on standby down there. Warning inhibit, so we're going to inhibit the warning system. Departure runway 09 is confirmed. We can't activate VNAV probably till we're in the air. No smoke, seatbelt signs are on. Spoilers, speed brakes are going to be armed. And ICAS and PFD, so doesn't tell you a few items, which is fine. We know a few items there we need to put on, such as the TARA, which we could have put on when we taxied, to be fair, like it told us, but sometimes it's better to wait. Let's try the weather radar on weather. You see it's still coming up as a standby, which is very disappointing. Pulse lights, strobe's already on. Let's check our voltage thing here. APU can come off. Although, to be fair, you might want to keep that on in case, you know, it's a short runway. Now, what we're going to have to do is taxi the full length, or we're going to have to turn around and just try and do a run up of the engines first, set our thrust power, and then we can release the powered brakes. So it's going to be a pretty rapid departure, everybody. I hope you're going to be ready for this one. And then during the climb, of course, landing gear, spoilers, flaps, pressurization will be checked. No smoke is required. Altimeters at 5,000 feet was set standard pressure, and then exterior lights is required. Mannheim traffic, November 345 Lima Charlie is departing runway 09, Rinix 3 Charlie departure. One quick check of the ground controls, again the flight controls, 3 incorrect, flaps are set. A little bit of a lag on this airport today. I had no issues last night in the dark, but that again is in the dark, doesn't need to process as much data. 09 established, let's just slow down on this turn a little bit. Big aircraft, the Gulfstream, you do need a lot of power to get it taxiing. Fantastic though, a good little challenge. We did land here before Christmas, if you want to see that landing. It was actually pretty good, considering how short the runway is. The Gulfstream can land here, but taking off again it can't do so unless it's under full weight. So foot brakes are applied. We're going to advance our thrust slowly, just wait for it to warm up a little bit. Just double check everything is in place. The flaps are still at 20. A little bit more. There's no speed set because of the VNAV, so we'll have to wait and see if that comes up or not. Okay, engines are coming alive. November 34 Charlie, 345 Lima Charlie, one of the best. One of the best. Okay, the V speed's on screen, and we're going to do a full thrust and brakes released. Airspeed alive. There's 80. V1, rotate. V2, positive brake, yeah, coming up. Let's set speed to 50, do auto throttle on. Let's get flaps up. I'm going to keep controlling it manually for now and see if the VNAV will activate. So VNAV still won't activate. I gained no issues last night with it. I have no idea why. We can do the LNAV on the thing, but we can't do the VNAV. So ground spoilers off. Logo lights coming off. Pressurization is increasing. Altimeters, so set standard pressure now. And exterior lights, pulse lights can come off. You'll just have to keep using our manual flying and probably the LNAV, but no VNAV for now. Again, no issues last night. I think it's probably just something's gone wrong when the flight plan is not able to recognise the altitudes and speeds required, even though we entered some information in there. Reactivate the excuse me, the flight plan now. It should fly direct to our next waypoint. Direct to Rinix. Let's do flight level change, straight over to 310. Mannheim traffic, November 345 Lima Charlie, Rinix 3 Charlie departure, now climbing for 8,000, 31,000. And we can set our speed manually here, so when we get to 10,000 feet, we're going to set our speed to 300. Hoping the VNAV will work, because it's not illuminating. Hoping it will work on the second route to Nice, of course. Not a bad departure either way, pretty smooth. There's 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and just slowly increase our speed. All autopilot now, which you need a little bit of pilot stuff with the MCP. 270 initially, and then we'll increase to 300 knots. Turning the volume down in the stream because the plane is so loud, but if you guys are struggling to hear it, then let me know. So performance, cruise, again, cruise in there, the levels. I think for the departure we should have put the manual stuff in here to get the, to get it to work properly. Flaps have been retracted before. Let's wait till we clear through these clouds. Again, shame the weather radar isn't coming alive. Let's turn it off and on standby again and see if we can get it to do it, because it's saying wait down there. And we'll increase our speed now to 300 knots.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. However, we always recommend to keep your seatbelt fastened while you're seated. Thank you.
Well, we're going to be departing Germany soon, and we're on to Milan Bergamo Airport in Italy. And then after there, we're going to be continuing on to Nice in France. So again, just 3 countries, and I want to keep this tradition up. So we go through Europe, cross through 3 countries instead of 2, which is much more interesting. So with the arrival and things, a good thing to use on here actually is you could use your notes. You can simply paste your flight plan in. So running 3 Charlie's departure, and then we have the Adina 5 Sierra. And again, if we go back to airport, you can see we haven't got any information there, which is kind of disappointing. Usually I would get them for this airport, but either way it's the Adina 5 arrival, and we can check that weather there on this. So let's get the weather up. One thing I'd recommend, probably need to clear that before you use anything else. So lime. Let's just print the METAR off. It's looking very clear though. It's going to be a lot clearer than Mannheim in Germany. Look at this beautiful weather. Almost at 20,000 feet. Again, pressurization is pretty good, so we're climbing at, there's the aircraft altitude, and there's the altitude of the cabin, so 3,900 feet. It'll probably increase a bit more than that. Let's get the other things on camera, sat confirm, and internet for the people on board. Usually you can change this to change the rate at which you increase the cabin, so it will say like max rate down here, which is very cool. There's no cruise option, but you've got climb option there, which is good. So seatbelt signs are coming off. Fuel return is automatic. We probably don't need remote fueling on at the moment, but fuel return can be on auto. FMS fuel quantity. Now this FMS is very, very useful, because if you go down here to performance, you can in fact get access to fuel management, and you can see how much you're using as things like that. So fuel flow is 2,900 there. That will decrease probably about, I think, 1,200 kg per hour. That's how much I was getting last night. So about 1,200 an hour seems alright for both engines. And then 8,000 left. Well, we'll have to see if we've got enough left when we land. The next one will be descent checklist. Absolutely gorgeous plane. I really love it. I do. I love this plane a lot. I'm really glad I bought it, and it provides me with a lot of entertainment. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get a drink. Flight will continue now to Lyme, and then a short stopover. Very short flight today. Let me know if the sound is too quiet or too loud of my voice, please. Okay, seems like there's quite a big delay here between the stream. I went live as quickly as possible to avoid the delay, but there's still a delay there. I think it's about 30 seconds. It's quite long. Short flight though, 27 minutes. We can't use VNAV still. I have programmed in some heights and altitudes, but for some reason today the FMS just doesn't want to do it. Maybe it's because we didn't put our final destination in. Maybe that's why it didn't work. Yep, that's probably why. So it's working now. Still won't illuminate up there, but at least this has been filled in. Not got long in the air. 31, and then we're already going down to like 13 at MEB Me 872, and VNAV comes alive as well. Brilliant. Thrust today, I mean, last night I cruised at 23,000 feet, and the thrust was a little bit more stable than this. So the cruise winds, we didn't even have to put our cruise winds in actually, to think about it. There was no question to put it in, but it kind of corresponds with what was in the flight plan anyway, minus sort of 50 at 70 knot winds there, minus 50, 60. But yeah, last night 23,000 feet, it may have been because it was smoother weather as well and a lot clearer, that the thrust was able to stay in one space and it was able to maintain the speed. At higher levels though, that's when the airplane starts to experience problems, so it will constantly adjust its thrust higher up. And we soon very need to do this descent checklist as well. extremely advanced systems. I thought this was a popular plane on the channel. I thought people wanted to see it, but today's been pretty dead actually. So I guess that you guys are watching on replay. If you're watching in replay, the Gulfstream is not something I fly very often. European flights like this are probably the best for it. I think we did Santa Fe before Christmas. So if I go back to the States, it won't be Santa Fe again. It'll probably be somewhere like Oakland in California. Or we fly somewhere fancy like that, maybe in Malibu or Reno, or even then further out than that, maybe even Vegas. Yeah, so Thrust is having a lot of issues. It's just adjusting it too quickly to be able to maintain it. Everything else is good up here. We got the temperature at 22, so cabin temperature is pretty good. So it's 20 degrees if we set it, and if we adjust that again, it will adjust it on the monitor down here, so it'll cool it down a little bit before it re-enters it. The actual temperature, the environmental air here, as you see, is hundreds of degrees, so it's very, very hot, compressed hot air, and it's going to be sort of cooled down through this phase here. You know, in a sense, it's going to be compressed again, isn't it? So that's minus 20 there, coming down to cool that air down, and then makes it suitable to get warmed up again for the cabin. It's a little bit of a strange system, but you know, it is what it is. Fuel wise, minus 20, we've got 4,200 kg in each, and that is in kg, everyone. I'm quite happy with our departure though. That is very, very smooth, considering we had zero visibility. What do we have down here? Zurich. Zurich's popular today, isn't it? Yeah, so I recently made a post to everybody about the Jetstream, the Citation 525 by Gulfstream, so I want to fly that again on stream, but I'm currently waiting for their update. I think the update is going to bring the weather radar in, it's going to bring a few new things in, so when that's done, everybody, that will be on the stream. On Wednesday we got, it was going to be another jet flight, the 525, but as I say, the update is going to be waiting for, so on Wednesday we just continue, we do a Citation X flight. And then Friday, I may be hopping into a propeller aircraft again in the Caribbean. I want to start introducing those new flights. So the twin piston series, I want to start introducing them on Thursday. So from now on, hopefully after I've done my review of the aircraft, I can introduce that onto a Thursday stream, and that'll probably be about the same time as well. If not later on, it could be later on. It depends. But I want to fly in the daylight mostly. So yeah, expect that soon. The review for the Piper Seneca 2 is going to be, I want to do it next week. I haven't got all my notes down yet, but I've got some down. Let's just get rid of the auto throttle and see if the aircraft will stabilise if I just do the manual thrust. So it usually does. As you see, it's actually pretty stable there with manual thrust. It doesn't need to be adjusted too much.
Sir, traffic Cathay 290 is departing runway 16-3 Sierra departure Zurich.
There's the Alps, everybody. It's looking gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so fuel flow, I talked about it before, I said £1,200, didn't I? But we're getting about 700, yeah, so about 1,400 kg an hour there, which is normal, average fuel flow for the aircraft. It doesn't come with performance charts, but this is really important if you want to fly by the numbers. If you want to try and fly the aircraft and try and plan your fuel, then you can estimate about 700 kg an hour for each engine, and that's a good amount there. And then as you can see 1400 an hour, and then you'll be able to plan your fuel. But I've been just using Simbury for this plane, but in the future I may do and base it on that. So yeah, make note of that, everybody, if you want to use this plane. It's about 700 an hour. And something that I discovered last night, very useful, is down here, aside from having the pedals disconnect button, you also have a volume button. You can literally mute people, and that's very, very handy. So I struggled to find the volume on this before, but turns out it's not actually in the middle stack where I thought it'd be. It's at the side here, which is a little bit off topic, a little bit out of the sort of range of the pilot, but it allows you to switch the remote from COM 1, you know, all the way to satellite phones. Which is, again, if you could use that, that would be amazing. Passenger microphone, again, you could change that to 100, you can change the volume. All features I found last night. The satellite phone doesn't work, of course. And a mute on that one, you know, mic, headphones, etc. Very, very cool. Salcor number DME, nav 1, 2. And the same for these jump seats. This jump seat here for the third pilot. They also have their own thing, and this is fully interactable. So technically the guy sat here, or the lady, could make the cabin announcements. One thing that, if Gulfstream AKD's watching who made this plane, AKD Studio, then please put in a privacy curtain for the cockpit, or at least consider putting it in the door, because this is too exposed. We'd have at least a door here or a curtain in a Gulfstream 550. There's no way we'd be exposed like that to people. It's just too risky, even on our VIP flights. And we also need to keep ourselves private so people don't get scared and blah 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 corporate stuff. Okay, we got 50 miles to Adena, so we can start planning our descent now. We may as well descend down to 200 initially, and then we'll continue down as planned on the VNAV descent. We don't need the auto throttle, I'm going to do it myself. So the seatbelt sign is on the landing data. Okay, landing Lime, temperature at Lime, let's get the temperature. So we got wind here, 2003 knots. Pretty stable winds. It says few at 4,000, broken at 7,000 feet. QNH 1001. Time there as well, Zulu time. We want to check on here that we can find it. I can't remember where Lime is on the map, so we could have to wait. Ah, there it is. No, that's Limp. We've got a few different ones down here with similar names. So that's our alternate airport. There's Lime over there. So we're going to the empty airport, believe it or not, with some strange parking, which is fine. We just need the temperature of 7 degrees. So 7 degrees there, and the landing speed is 39 degrees at 39 for the approach, and then 129 landing. Let's just check our reference here. So 129 is coming up. Runway use required. Well, we need about... We don't need as much to land, of course. We could probably land at about 2,800 feet. There's no performance charge for this aircraft, so you have to sort of guess. We just put... Because that's in meters as well, it's a little bit tricky to calculate it. So just skip it, I guess. Anyway, that's calculated. So landing speed is calculated. The approach brief again, the Adina 5 Sierra arrival. Runway 0. Go back here into Avi tab. We have our notes. Adina 5 Sierra, runway 10. Let's tune that in. We'll probably do the ILS. Maybe the ILS Yankee Zulu. No transition. Okay, the arrival is programmed in well. The altitudes and things have appeared. Approach briefing, so again we're going to start descending. We could descend by per the charts, but we haven't got them available. Exterior lights, we don't need them just yet, but we do need to start getting down there. I think the aircraft did start descending, but it started to increase its altitude again. Let's put the thrust set in back. Altimeters, so 1007 and QNH, exterior lights. And then the next checklist, believe it or not, is after landing. So we don't have a before landing checklist on this. So you have to do what you would usually do on landing, which is, you know, all the lights and spoilers armed and things like that. It does say it there, ground spoiler armed. But the problem is that on the after landing checklist, which should be completed before, so there's some mistakes in there which could be cleaned up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. Make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened. Our cabin crew are currently passing around the cabin to make a final compliance check. Thank you.
Looks like we're going to have a straight in arrival, which is brilliant. We do need the ILS frequency, which is why those charts are really, really crucial. So we have to keep using X-Plane 12's map. Not a problem, of course, but these are a little bit of a cheat mode, I guess. So runway, we're landing on runway 10, yeah, straight in arrival. No ILS approach, that's odd. So on the FMC there, we've programmed an arrival to the ILS. Runway 28, I must be having a moment there. A lot of different things here for the VFR circuits. So 1087, let's tune that in. Yeah, because I'm going to do the ILS rather than go straight in. It says runway 10, but if we look at the map, obviously ILS is better for the wind as well. We're landing into the wind that way. – 4,000 feet seems to be the altitude here for the approach, and then 3,500 feet as we come down to final fix. We need to keep descending here to 13,000 feet. Let's do vertical speed mode. 2,200 feet a minute. This is a bit confusing, so 2.8 should be the opposite direction, but it seems to be facing in, I think that's going to be a turnaround there. It's going to make us do a U-turn, a LFMN, which is not convenient at all. So we had these issues before, and what this means, we just have to do an outbound turn, I think, and then come into the final, because we can't do a U-turn like that. It's going to be too close. Can keep descending now, clear the mountains all the way down to 11,000 feet. We're going to increase our descent rate here to 2,500 feet. Again, just keep the power in there with this. This is a big aircraft and it does require a lot of speed and power. See, if I cut the engines now, we're going to lose. You know, we kind of will maintain it, but we're also going to lose a lot of lift. If you want to change this from hectopascals to inches, and mercury, you can do it up here from on the barometric setting on the ADI. And you could also change this across here to a sort of standard wing look. All the different systems. It's a really in-depth aircraft. I don't fly it often because it requires quite a lot of startup and following a lot of procedures and things, but when I do fly it, it always feels really well done and just really pleasurable to be in. One thing we didn't do before we departed with these sort of tests, now you would need this engines on to do the stall test for some reason, but you can do radar altimeter tests and TCAS tests on the ground, same as EGPWS systems. And of course, if you want to flip through the on-screen checklist here, you can use this. They don't have an emergency here or abnormal, but it's fine. And it's interesting because the checklist down here built into the computer system is not the same as the one on the tablet, and it's not the same as the one they give you in documents. So we go down now to say, see here, you got a descent checklist, whereas on this one here we don't have a descent. We do have a descent. Actually, that's a bad example, but we don't have a before landing checklist, so this one's actually a bit more in depth. Let's use that one then rather than this one over here, and we'll just use this for the after landing checklist when we get on the ground. There's the feet. We're descending pretty rapidly. We may as well continue down to about 9,000 feet. Do a shallow descent now of 1,500 feet a minute. Okay, weather radar. Now we finally got it to sort of semi-illuminate again. I think I had a success getting that to work on stream once, and that was it. Yeah, it just doesn't work at all, Dev, if you're watching this by any chance. It needs to be working the moment we click on it. Because otherwise we're not going to be able to see terrain or weather, are we, unless we use this map here, which is a little bit unfair. Alright, let's go into our heading mode. Heading mode is there. I'm going to follow the heading now, and what I'm going to do is do an outbound course just slightly to the left. Just so we can come straight to the LaSalle. LaSalle there, and then that will take us direct to final. Rather than going... because otherwise the U-turn is not going to be possible, as I say. So anyway, landing lights can come off at this altitude. Ground spoilers can be armed. Brakes, hydraulic accumulator. So the hydraulics have been armed this flight. I think they're armed, aren't they? Not armed? Yeah, they're armed. See there, the pedal brakes increasing the pressure. That's what we need to see, so that means it's good. We've also got an engine start thing there, which is useful. And you could also have traffic on there as well. I like to keep it on. Again, there's plenty of things in here. CAS, you know, video, checklists, complete engine start thing, waypoints, everything you can need to fly it. Okay, 9,000 feet, what do we need to be at? We need to be down to 4,000 by LaSalle. So parking hydraulics, etc. So no smoking seatbelt signs are on. Okay, flaps, we're going to set 10 degrees of flaps. The speed for the flaps are up here as well, so we have 10 degrees at 250 and then 20 at 220. We're not going to go below hopefully not below 220 just yet. Flaps are set, airspeed. VREF is, just double check, 129 plus 5 knots. We'll do the warning, inhibit and flight controls page when we're a bit closer, and then the afterland checklist. Again, just a lot more in depth than the one on here, although that seems to be pretty close. So we use the compute one over here, I think. Charts, again, I have linked my SimBrief account. I haven't had any luck connecting it to this. I think this is for something like Navigraph, but again, I haven't had any luck getting it to work. Got some rain sound effects there playing. I've noticed that on this aircraft, but completely forgot about it. been a while, like I say, about a month since I've been on the plane, and the rain effects can apply themselves. Like, they start playing when you're not even near the ground, and when you're not on the ground, which is not realistic. I think that sound effect is supposed to be when it's parked on the ground, but even then I haven't heard it. So I think, please developer, you know, we love playing around with the aircraft, but it just needs some fixes here and there in many places. Anyway, there's 4,000. Let's switch back to LNAV and see if we can get down to the approach height and things like that. VNAV is giving us 180 on the speed. I think we got some views here of the terrain coming into Milan Bergamo. And then final fix will be 3,500 feet. That'll probably be I'll go around high, probably be about 4,000 feet on the circuits to the left hand side to avoid the mountains. Yeah, it seems to be right on the cockpit seat as well when we're near land. As I say, it's a near terrain and it's doing the sound effect. So here's that U-turn. Everybody's doing it nice and early. We're going to turn it now, descending down to final height 3,500 feet. Turn our heading to 090. That sound is a little bit on the annoying side, I'm not going to lie. It should definitely not be playing that early on. (1007) on the QNH. Okay, did an outbound turn, quite smart really, considering all of this. Not 09, is it? It's 280 on the course. Okay, struggling to do the turn. We're going to take control heading mode and just turn ourselves here. Once we're on course, it will be able to align. Let's select navigation for the ILS frequency. Milano Bergamo traffic, November 345 Lima Charlie is inbound 3,500 feet ILS approach from the 28. Okay, landing lights on. The full landing checklist is completed pretty much. We just need another notch of flaps. 20 degrees of flaps. And we're going to activate the localizer mode soon. So if we go on LNAV, it will follow the localizer now, hopefully. So localizer is armed. And then we'll wait for the glide slope to come alive. There's the localizer. We've intercepted the localizer. So we established localizer 28 for the horizontal guidance. And then vertical guidance, when we click approach mode, we'll be able to see the GS light up white. And then when this G thing here, which is G stands for glide slope, so when that gets towards the centre, it will all illuminate green for go. Go, go, go. Approach mode is armed. I think the glide slope is going to be moving at any second now. I can see it moving towards the centre. So like a good plane, well programmed plane, it does actually lock onto these things pretty well. I had one issue in the mountains at Aspen, but that was about it. Last night was fine on the test sector. Okay, there's the glide slope. 8 nautical miles to the runway. Milan Bergamo traffic November 345 with me Charlie, fully established ILS 28, 8 nautical mile final. Need very minimal speed on this approach, the throttles are pretty much almost at idle. Gear coming down. AAA, so all go, all systems go, and we're going to go for full flaps. Hopefully coming out of the clouds any second now so you can actually see what we're doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just been cleared to land. Please make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened.
There's the runway in sight, just about. Got 3 degrees, 3 knot tailwind there. Not too bad, not the worst. Yeah, we didn't set minimums. You can do it down here on the flight reference. Let's fly this down to minimum, see if we can do it. 1,000 feet to go. Autopilot coming off. Spoilers, reverses. There's 80 knots, let's get reversers off. Okay, we're on the ground and the rain sound effects stopped. What timing was that? So yeah, we're going to slow down manual braking. We're going to take a turn out here to the left hand side, seems a little bit more suitable. Oh, actually right side's got some nice parking spaces. So as you can see, they're using up the whole runway length just to get down. That was not too bad. There was a little bit of a slow and low final when I overcorrected with the power. But nonetheless, I enjoyed that landing. That was very, very good. So spoilers and flaps can come up. Strobes off. Let's get a transponder down here to standby mode. There's some good places there. Got the aviation for the Avgas. There's some hangars back there we could park at. First time at Milano. Again, my channel, we tend to fly to places I've never flown to before, so everything is new. And everything is interesting. Let's just hold here a second while we do some post-landing checks. So we'll go radar to standby mode. Transponders, flaps of ground spoilers are coming off. Ambi light strobes off, cowls, anti-ice is required, so let's get these pitot heats off. Leave the windshield heat on for now. It says windshield heat off. I guess we'll follow the checklist then. I was going to leave it on in case it missed up. APU generator. Let's get that online. I mean, not worst. We did that sort of circle around here to get on course. We have a few spaces in front which are not identifiable. So a hotel. I kind of want to park at a hotel. It's not a proper space. And then on the right here we got these stands for the airport. Gorgeous looking airport, gorgeous looking ground as well. Very well done. Okay, FMS 1 flight plan is terminated because we completed it. So now we're going to be ready for our second leg. And if you are going to be joining me, everybody, stick around, we'll watch the replay and we'll take a quick breather and then we'll return for our final destination, Nice Airport in France. Been a really cool little flight. Again, this is a brilliant aircraft to use. We're going to go over here to the private hangars because we're very, very rich. We also need to deboard the passengers. So we're not going to be doing the securing today, we're just going to do the park. Sort of after landing parking checklist while we do a quick turnaround. There's a lot of space though down here, you can go all the way to the end. We don't need that though, we're going to do a quick U-turn and get our aircraft prepared for the final destination, as I say. So all these hangars here would probably be suitable for the Gulfstream, looking at the size. Let's get our landing lights off. Okay, we're going to block the taxiway, we're going to just hold here and stick our brakes. Keep that inhibited for now. So pilot brake set, fuel control switches, so APU needs to come on first, let's do that. Let's get the packs. Let's leave the packs on actually for a difference. Switch to the APU generator. Fuel control off. As you're steering, the off position. Radar off, cowl and ITS off, boost pumps as required. You can turn these off when the engine's on, and we need two on for the APU. Bleed air, we'll leave them on for now, we'll leave the cabin bleed air on. Cabin pressure, we still didn't check it on descent, but it did change to landing, and it did depressurize as required, and transponder is on standby. So we're going to do a quick turnaround. Let's watch the replay, everyone. No invisible car with us today. Pitching up steeply there, putting a lot of power in. That was actually a good landing. I think that was good. That was a really smooth touchdown. A little bit of a little slight bounce to the nose wheel, but it is forgivable. Anyway, ground guys, we're gonna get the main door open. So main door there. These closed door switches up there as well. We'll get the main door lights. That thing can shut up. Main door lights on. Let's get our chocks on for the turnaround, and let's get our people off. So take passengers to terminal, and then we can program the next flight in. We should also thank them for coming along.
Ladies and gentlemen, please check around your seat for any personal belongings you may have brought on board with you. On behalf of our AKD Studio Airline and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip. And we are looking forward to...
You can even hear the audio of the announcement.
Thank you, and have a nice day.
When you're close to the aircraft, it's louder. That's really cool. Anyway, the chocks are set. We're going to stand by for 5 minutes. APU doesn't sound the best, so you know I highly recommend getting a drink and not listen to it because it is frustrating. Ratings of that landing would be appreciated. That was a nice little trip. So mute for 5 minutes and I'll return. Then see you soon. We'll continue on to Nice Airport. Hello everybody, thank you very kindly for your patience. I took a little bit longer than usual there to boil the kettle. Just having a cup of tea, getting ready for the next flight. Got the flight plan filed, so Nice. AKD Studios Gulfstream 550. This should be a pretty simple flight, pretty short. The original flight was meant to take 45 minutes, but it's taken us... we got the ground start-up things to consider, haven't we? That whistle of that APU though, that is something that could be improved, I think. The APU probably doesn't sound that bad in real life. Into the cockpit. We're going to do a little bit of a brief. So we're going to, again, I don't know how to connect my SimBrief account here onto maybe flight plan. Oh, import data from SimBrief, of course. I'm assuming this is right. Yes, it has worked. Oh, wow. And one of the things they did actually is allow you to print the metadata to your computer. Which I find cool. So that's actually worked, and it's given us all the correct data that we need for the departure and the route and the fueling. So set fuel and payload. Let's see if this will work. Oh wow, this is a lot better. Ready for boarding. Take passengers to plane. Fuel and payload. Required total. So we actually, like I say, we had enough on board for the entire flight we set off. But what it's going to do now is it's actually going to take away fuel from us. But that's strange. So if we set fuel payload, it doesn't seem to be doing it. I think we have to set it here as well, possibly. Either way, this has worked. This has all worked as it should. Which means we can do the flight planning straight into the FMC, because we haven't got anything to align because the IRSs are pretty much done. Okay, cool. So data is always going to be out of date unless you have, I think, something up to date to put it in there. Position initialization, so that's already loaded. Let's go to flight plan. And it'd be really cool if we could send this. Can we send this to the computer somehow? You know, that would be very handy. So we're in the Lime town at the moment. Milano with LFMN. I think that's right, isn't it? LFMN for Nice, Dakota. Flight number today is... Wait, data link flight plan. Request flight plan by number or info. Ah, okay, that's pretty cool. We just want to do this for now though, although I think if we call it up... No, I'd have to save it. Downloading data. I don't know what I just did then. Performance initialization, so we'll wait till the people are on board. They should be arriving soon actually. Fuel and payload. Waiting for the car, so we gotta wait a little bit longer for them to come. Go for the departures. Probably runway 10 as you see, so based on the wind direction, I'm going to take it off. I kind of want to take off in the same direction. I kind of want to take off runway 28 again, and what's that warning that's popped up? Main door should be open. Alright, the van's here, the people are getting on board. So the VOG wants the air departure. Sometimes it might be better on the departure side of things to select the departure before the runway. I feel like I'm having a bit of trouble finding this. It's given us... There's two runways, but the smaller ones are not going to be suitable for us. VOGs wants the air departure. How peculiar.
Boarding completed and main door closed.
Runway 10 doesn't even have a SID or star. I'm just trying to find this thing because it can't seriously be that small runway it's given us to take off from, because that is impossible. There's no VOGs one departure in there at all. So that's a little bit disappointing. In that case, we're going to skip the SIDs and skip the standard instrument departure and just go straight to Nobas. Is that a Noba? Enoba? So we do Noba for the next waypoint. So that'll be the sort of via 2. And then we'll do 47 Romeo arrival. And again, we don't really know what the runway is going to be. 47 Romeo arrival, no transition, brilliant. Let's activate that. Final destination there. Everyone's on board, so let's secure the door in place. Door safety, let's seatbelt signs are already on. Let's do that again. Let's just welcome everybody on board.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the captain and the entire crew, welcome aboard AKD Studio Aircraft. We are delighted to have you with us today. Please take a moment to ensure your seatbelt is fastened and make yourself comfortable. If there is anything we can do to make your flight more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to let us know.
So 19,000 feet is what we need.
Today.
I have got the flight
Once
plan.
again,
I keep looking back to
thank
the
you for
computer
choosing
screen,
our
but I've got it
aircraft.
up on screen
Sit
for you
back,
guys.
relax, and enjoy your flight.
So you should be able to see it now. So we've got cruise level 19,000 feet. Again, we've still got enough fuel on board. Passengers 300 kg of baggage and 12 people, so the exact same amount that we had originally. Cruise winds we're going to need here, so top of climb 19,000, 282038. You can sit that in the FMC down here. Two 82038. So cruise winds have been put in successfully. I hope you can see this. In terms of sort of like departing winds and things, we use the metal we printed off in the actual plane. So everything else there looks fine. Cargo 300. And we have 12 packs on board again. Now you can cross check the weight over here. So zero fuel weight 22.7. Well, we've only got gross weight there, 307. So the gross weight, saying here 25,078. It might be because we've taken more fuel, haven't we? So that's what the actual weight is. Confirm initialization. Back to performance for the takeoff. Again, you have to set all this manually. So temperature is 6 degrees, and then the wind. We can see it on the metal over here, so 20033. Now if we go over to the information here on flight plan and we put it in again, now this will be updated information, so that information we had on arrival may have been changed, and in fact it has changed quite considerably. So now it's variable wind at 1 knot, 6,000, broken clouds at 7,000, so it's still the same on clouds, but everything else on the wind is fine. So since it's variable on the wind, we just put 000. That seems a little bit off, to be fair, at 1 knot. There's very mild winds. Welcome in, Nor Cal Kev. Good to see you again. Well, the flight time today just takes as long as it'll take. A couple of hours, 45 minutes it was from the departure airport Mannheim to Milano, and then from here to Nice it's probably going to be less than that, so it's not very long at all, an hour and a half in total. So winds and temperatures have been set there. EPR, yeah, 20 degrees of, we could go for 10 degrees on this runway, but the aircraft is, as I say, quite considerable on weight, so you probably do need it. So 125 on the V2. You see there the V speeds will come up. You can cross check it over here with the performance calculations. I think that's pretty much it on the performance side of things, so we're pretty much ready to taxi. Let's get our engines on, so beacons are coming alive. The door is secure, let's get our window heat on when the engines are on. Crankmaster. We are clearing the area, aren't we? There's nobody around. waiting for this peak. So there, and then we can introduce the fuel. Oh, it is. It's great. Great aircraft as well. It's a little bit of a steep handling curve, but other than that, it's really a pleasure to fly most of the time. Okay, great. Quick start on there, probably because we're already sort of warmed up. Okay, there we go. Ignitions. Just wait for this starter here to go off, and then you can turn the master crank off here as well for the ignition. This is sort of like the primary ignition switch, the sort of thing. I don't think Airbus has it, but Boeing has a sort of style of ignition system, except for it's in switches. So there's the switch going off. You can turn this master off over here. Let's get the fuel pumps on. Gonna leave it at 20 degrees. It's pretty cold outside. Let's get the APU bleed air off. All the packs and things are on. The APU generators coming off as well. We're going to leave the APU on for the taxi, and then we'll turn it off when we get to the runway. So angle of attack, windshield heat.
We would like to familiarize you with this aircraft. Please use caution when approaching the aircraft, and be aware of static waves, jet blast, and aircraft.
This is such a small flight. Right, so runway wise, we're going to be taxiing runway 28, aren't we? Backtrack runway 28. Yeah, I'll have a VNAV. VNAV might not on because there's sometimes a break in the flight plan down here, as we talked about on departure. Performance cruise.
Please refrain from using mobile devices until the seatbelt sign is turned off. Stow tables and carry-on luggage for takeoffs and landings. Adjust your seat back to the full upright position. And track your seat upward.
Okay, good flight controls.
Cabin depressurization and oxygen mask will automatically
Brake pressure is good.
above your seats. Pull the mask down.
Okay, ECS is good, so environmental control system. Let's hopefully get this radar to work. Fingers crossed. It's just essential item, isn't it? So test on there. Apparently you're meant to leave it on test mode and then activate it on the ground, but I think we've had enough tries of it to realise it's not working. Right, the ladies are giving the safety demonstration. Taxi lights on. Again, the air is clear. Parking brake released. We are ready to taxi to active runway. We'll be taxiing. Use this map here to be Yankee straight down to Bravo, and then Bravo holding short 28.
Please take a moment to observe the emergency window exits on the sides of the cabin. Each is clear and marked.
And of course the chocks are still on. Brilliant.
Exit the aircraft by stepping through the escape hatch onto the runway. The main entry door, which you use to enter the aircraft, can also be located on a block attached to the door.
And nose wheel steering. So this is why we do a checklist, everybody, so you don't forget things like the chocks and the nose wheel steering. Pretty essential items if you think about it. So we won't forget that in the past. It does work though, the nose wheel steering, so if you turn it off you can't turn the aircraft.
Extend down the middle of your back. Press these straps and snap the buckles together. Pull each string until it is tight. The red tank cords form each inflation chamber are pulled downward to inflate each chamber. Both cords must be pulled to inflate.
And we're going to continue to squawk the random code we've given ourselves. LS80C comes online.
Also stowed on board. They are located
Brakes are good.
aft cabin, right in the emergency exit windows inside the credenza, and are deployed through the emergency escape hatches. All flight crew members are trained in the use of these rafts and will assist each passenger in evacuation procedure. Should you have any medical or dental concerns, or have recently been scuba diving, please alert your flight crew. Convenience items are available for your use, including phone access, power outlets, Wi-Fi printer, iPad holders, and display screens. messages.
Let's get the transponder active. Hello, traffic, November 345, Lima Charlie, taxiing runway 28 via Bravo. If you guys want to fly along with me on streams when I'm flying in these kind of jets, you're more than welcome to. We fly Grantham corporate like this, we're making money for ourselves. Trying to do it as efficiently as possible. The aircraft that I fly usually are pretty well fueled up before we go, so we don't have to worry about buying anything before we leave. There's no cost on the Jet A fuel or things. We usually buy it back at our base in Mannheim, which is where the Gulfstream is based at the moment. Citation X is based in Guernsey, and I have a few aircraft scattered over Europe in various places. So again, if you want to get involved, all you need to do is just join the stream, want to start, and fly along the route with me. We'll have to use a shared network, so it'll probably be on the VATSIM or Aviation networks, if you have them available. Let's just do a test here so I can show you the stall test. It does shake the stick. And you can see there, very, very good. Stall 2 though, still not functional. I suspect there may be a bug there, but everything else, radio altimeter works, and we are going to set this, by the way, for takeoff. So let's go down, set the radio altimeter down here, about 1,000 feet. And then we'll come down and set barometric minimums of 200 feet. I think it may be the other way around sometimes. I don't know, to be fair, sometimes I mix it up. So about 1,000 feet on there, and then if we click off it should be set, so it's down here, DH, yes, I think it is barometric, isn't it, for departure? I have no... This is what happens when you fly so many planes, it gets complicated. There's holding point Bravo 2. Let's just leave it on the radio altimeter for now. I'm going to leave our logos on. We're only going up to 19,000 feet, so not too high up. Usually if there was ATC, I'd be expecting vectors and altitude restrictions. Okay, window heats are on. The cabin window heat is on as well. Let's just arm the anti-ice. Not the smoothest of braking. Right, we're going to do a quick checklist here. So ground spoilers are coming to armed. Flaps. Cabin secure radar is required. Let's see if it can work now if we turn it on. Put it on test mode. Just say standby on it. Well, again, it won't activate on the map. We'll turn it on, and then hopefully maybe it'll work. Who knows? It'll come online. So that's set. The cabin secure. The warning inhibit is on. Spoilers are armed. Speed brakes. ICAS is checked. And of course the 028 for departure. Straight out departure today. No SIDS or stars. Let's get our pulse lights on. Strobe lights. Transponders to TARA. Ready for departure. Milan Bergamo traffic November 345 Lima Charlie, departing runway 28, straight out departures to the south. This must be costing people an arm and a leg to fly. 12 people on the way to Milano and then 12 people to Nice, but they're flying in such a big plane and it's such a short journey that you'd save so much money just going by train. I appreciate they want to fly, you know, a big group of people, but still, it would be much cheaper by train. Anyway, back to the fly reference. We got a bit of a reference here for V-speed not popping up. We have confirmed our V-speed is 100 and VREF 128 and then VR is 120. So actually a little bit faster there on departure. I'll activate the VNAV in the air straight up to 19,000. No need for the brakes to be applied on takeoff. Flaps are set. Controls are free. There's the departure, so positive right gear coming up. A little bit faster on takeoff than I want it to be. This warning inhibit isn't working very much. Flaps up. I'm going to increase our speed now, so hopefully we can activate VNAV when we're on course. Just turn the APU off, we've completely forgot about that. Auto throttle's not on, we don't need it on at the moment, guys. And the speeds are sort of coming up automatically now, so we can get locked on to VNAV. Pray to God that will work. Sky's clearing up as well, everything's working, so let's do the after takeoff climb checklist. Ground spoilers off, gear is up, the flaps are up. Pressurization, so we are not in flight mode when we should be, but we are going to pressurize now. No smoking is required, no seatbelt signs is required. A little bit of a bumpy departure. Altimeter's set to standard pressure, so 1013. Force lights off. Very responsive on the plane though, extremely responsive. And nav and VNAV again, not coming up, but I'll try and get that diagnosed. It will probably work when I'm offline. No, my luck. Just let the aircraft stabilise. You can see stabilising. I'm going to turn the seatbelt signs off.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. However, we always recommend to keep your seatbelt fastened while you're seated. Thank you.
Yeah, VNAV very peculiar, so I thought we nailed this issue out before, but it seems like it's still persistent. It's probably just my program in here. There is probably something here that we've missed, which is essential. You know, it could be the power settings and the takeoff. Well, we checked all that beforehand. I have to see how accurate the flight plan is to the cruise winds. Yeah, because without That's bizarre, isn't it? That speed difference. Thousand feet to go. We're not really increasing speed at the moment. Welcome, Trevor Bob. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing very well. Oh, it's true, isn't it? Well, we're laughing here at Grantham Corporate. We're making so much money. We're making so much money from these guys. You know, there's no privacy curtain. I'm sure they can hear me, but this flight alone, 12 people. You're right, about 23 grand. Absolutely insane. These guys will probably call me next week and they'll probably say, Grantham, we've got another route we want you to fly for us, and I'll be like, okay, well, we can do that, but it'll cost you extra, especially if we're going to the Gulfstream. This is a very expensive plane to operate, and personally, that's why I like flying the smaller ones. You know, this kind of operation is not only expensive, but it's time consuming, and it's not always the most efficient. Beautiful skies though on this flight, absolutely beautiful. Not too bad on the thrust either. It seems stabilised. It's not as erratic as it was on the route here. Anyway, direct to LFMN. So there's the arrival. Pretty simple. And I'm confident we're going to have charts available. So fuel return is automatic. And we'll compare the fuel amount when we get a bit closer. LFMN. So news to Dakota, we're looking at about the same amount in pressure settings. Yeah, all the arrivals. So 04, it'll probably be from the north. I'm not sure where that's going to count as coming from. East, possibly. Yeah, so this will be the arrival. Even that seems a little bit off, to be fair. Should go back here to Aviation. Excuse me, flight plan. So the board 7 Romeo arrival. There's the boardie, 17,000 feet. Cross check it with this. So that is in fact the arrival we're going to be doing, and then it's going to take us outbound. To about here. And then I'm assuming we've got to follow that all the way around to Neres. Again, the approach 0, it's probably 04, isn't it? That's kind of like typical airport landing for Nice Airport. Yeah, 04 left. Various approaches though. We could be better off doing an ILS, but we're coming in the RNAV approach, so maybe the RMP, runway 4 left. VPT, localizer. I will be doing an LPV approach sometime. This aircraft is capable, as you can see. It's got the cover up here. If you take it off, I think you can just about see. It will say LPV in there if you're doing an LPV approach, which is a type of precision approach. It's not even that complicated really. Let's just choose ILS. So Neres, this is a sort of standard Nice thing here. You got the sort of arc here for the approach. Yeah, almost like a DME arc. Now when I flew this sector last night, this particular route here takes forever, so I think when we get up here we can skip it and just go all the way down to final. Because even that doesn't look correct on the approach. So, arrival. Approach the ILS. Is that ILS Zulu or Yankee? ILS Yankee, localizer Yankee. The must. So we do have a transition according to our flight plan. I just saw it on something else. Give me a sec. It probably will be the must transition there according to the chart we looked at before. Well, there you go. We can skip it and go for the Nera. Nera might be a bit better. The Nera's transition over there. Let's just see what that's going to give us on the approach. If it's too much, obviously we can change it. That seems right though. That does seem right, coming in that sort of square circuit formation and then flying out with some Neras. So when we get round Bordy, what I'm going to do is just go straight to Neras, and that will save some considerable time. So we copied Neras. Yeah, so that will save a lot of time. Then we'll go straight down to the final. Cabin pressure on this thing, not very much. It's quite a lot lower. Obviously the Gulfstream is really advanced, an extremely advanced plane, one of the most advanced planes in the world, and the cabin altitude just reflects that, because in most modern airliners this altitude would be pressurised between 7,000–8,000 feet, which is sort of like standard across airliners, but in these private jets the advanced technology allows them to fly at a lower cabin altitude, so it's a lot more comfortable for the passengers on board, of course. Okay, we got some rough weather in Nice. Anybody who's ever flown there before, you guys will know that Nice is an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare for bad weather. They've always got storms and thunderstorms down there. It can be a real challenge. I flew there in a Cessna. Guess what? I flew the Cessna 172 there. I absolutely loved the experience at night, but it was in such harsh conditions that I, could hardly see anything outside. I was just focused on the instruments the entire time, but this kind of a plane is still going to be a challenge. Wind direction, I haven't brought it up today for you guys to see, but it is generally pushing to the northwest. So we're going to have a strong headwind in there. We're probably going to have some turbulence and low visibility down to minimums. So minimums, we're going to do barometric. I'm going to do it nice and early for 200 feet. That's the DA there. Well, not entirely the DA, it's the sort of minimums and the altitude, it's decision altitude. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it isn't. Okay, let's disconnect this auto throttle somehow. There's not really a click spot there for it, but if we can disconnect it, we can do what we did on the way there, just use manual thrust. Stop the aircraft from thrusting up and down too much. So we're actually burning more fuel on the way there now. We're burning about 1600 kg. Again, if you reduce the thrust, you'll see that the fuel burn there is decreasing. So we could probably just estimate based on what we previously burned. So we burned about 1400 to Milano. We're probably going to be burning less than that. Yeah, a little bit less. More like 1200 pounds, 1200 kg here an hour. And this corresponds with this, so 1272 an hour. True airspeed 404, ground speed 378, extremely fast. Let's just check the arrival. I'm going to do a little bit of flight planning here for the arrival as well in terms of performance. I'm going to make sure we got all the details in, so wind and things, and temperature. We're going to get the ATIS information off here. Very useful again, it just stops you from having to go online and having to look it up. You can just do it right here in the plane. And of course, as I said at the beginning, you get a weight and load balance sheet from the fuel refueling truck, and it'll go in this slot here. I'd love to see that sort of thing implemented on more planes. So what we got? 060 at 7 knots. And no temperature, but we can assume that it's pretty cold, so QNH is 1005. Probably already seen these on the map. Yeah, so there's already traffic down there. We are going to be landing runway 04 left. I believe that's the airport. Runway for landing, and then 4 right is takeoff. So we got 7 miles range, sky conditions scattered in 1400, broken at 1600 MSL. Dew point 10, temperature 10, dew point 7. Let's just put 10 in. So again, those sort of thunderstorms kicking in at this time, isn't it? Based on our current weight imbalance, so 137 and then 127 on landing. I'm going to put the approach speed as the reference this time, because I think the approach speed last time was for the landing, but we really need the approach speed. Then we'll just minus, we'll remember to minus 10 knots on that. I can't remember how to change that. 127. Maybe it's not able to change. That's unfortunate. Oh, this is brutal, isn't it? Let's get some music on the back. I haven't turned this on in a while. I've been missing it. I'm going to try and figure out how to put custom music into this player as well. I don't think it's copyrighted, so you can play it on your streams if you want to use it. Down here somewhere. Yeah, that's it. Love to see some shutters here, some blinds. Well, passengers back there having a nice party as they go to Nice. I have no idea who's on board. I think we got a Frenchman on board. Probably. Okay, we're going off course. What's going wrong with the FMC here? Yeah, something's going wrong with the flight plan. I'll nav on. Okay, would it help if we put our navigation to FMS1? I'm going to direct to boarding. Really strange though, because it was following the flight plan with no issues until that point. Yeah, how peculiar. That's our top of descent. Anyway, we've got to start descending down now, probably to about, according to the charts, we've got a limitation here in Neres, so 14,000 feet to 4,000 feet. We're going to go down to 12,000 feet then. And get ready for the approach and the arrival procedures. 1,800 feet a minute descent rate. Let's get the landing light seatbelt signs on. We want to make sure everybody is nice and secure in the cabin. Let's just give them an announcement so they stop partying. Descent.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Seatbelts are secure.
Make sure your
FMS landing
seatbelt
data has
is
just been
fastened.
confirmed. Cabin pressure is
Currently passing around the cabin
depressurizing
for
normally.
compliance check. Thank you.
Approach briefing. So if anything goes wrong on this kind of approach, if we've got zero visibility, we're going to have to try and divert, I think, because it's, knowing my experience in the past in Nice, it can be really bad. Altimeters, we'll set that when we get lower down, and exterior lights, we'll set that at 10,000 feet. I don't think the passengers are taking the safety seriously, are they? They're all partying like crazy. Ah, so amazing, isn't it? Just this level of detail in flight simulation nowadays. I wasn't like 100% too impressed with this in various places, but I did give it an overall positive review. If you want to check it out, it should be in the description. The link should be in the description for the full review. And you know, once again, praise AKD Studios for their efforts. I think this is a great model, but it does lack in many places. But they are again working with a plane which was never permitted to be used on the flight simulator. Gulfstream, if you're a real Gulfstream pilot, you know, it'd be great to hear from you on the sort of performance side of things. Is this aircraft performing realistically, and is it about the same speed it would be in real life? Because from my experience of it and what I've seen, it does seem very accurate on these screens. It's very accurate on the sort of systems management and just the level of detail and things you have to control and change it. It does seem on par with a real aircraft. You know, the handling especially, you have that hard input required, and you have to put a lot of, you know, forward pressure on the yoke and things, and it's a real challenge compared to a lighter jet. There's also just been an announcement, if anybody's looking forward to it, the new, sort of like a business jet. I have looked at it and I am really tempted. It looks fantastic. I think it's an ERJ, but there's a new one coming out, brand new business jet, and it's the same as this. I saw it and I thought it looks exactly like the Gulfstream 550, but it's obviously a higher quality, so who knows, if it's a decent price I might consider it. Only have 254 reserves, that seems too little. Let's just do our performance for our landing. So landing performance, you can change these. I think it will, yeah, read the data from the sim, and hopefully runway length should be read as well. I don't know how long it is at Nice, you should get that off the charts really. So LFMN, we probably need the airport chart for this one. So yeah, 26.28. A little bit longer on the right side, so maybe the right side's the better one to land on. Anyway, 26.28 meters for the performance. I can't actually change that. 26.28. Either way, you can send that to FMS. So 136, 126 corresponds with what we got on the reference here. Clearing up as well as we get lower down. We are going to have to be aware of what's going on here. There is traffic at Nice Airport. That looks like a King Air, the absolute gorgeous King Air, I hope. So we're there in a sort of GA plane. This is us coming over the side. It says November 547 GA. I think that's just the default name for it. We are in the Gulf 550 Lima Charlie mode. Out to Neres, which is somewhere over here. A bit hard to see because it's not showing up. Somewhere over here, and then we'll come down for the RLS. 109.95, let's tune that in. Speed should be speeding up more than that. 4,000 feet, then we go down to for Neres. I slow down below 250, of course below 10,000 feet. Or at least try to. Private jets tend to have, believe it or not, they tend to get a little bit of discretion. They can in fact go faster. Just due to the performance of the planes. Right, I feel like we should give an arrival call out here. Nice traffic November 345 Lima Charlie is descending now 4,000 feet for the Adena 5 Sierra, arrival runway 04 left. Yeah, so that's night fluid, and this is the stretch here which confuses me. So for some reason the aircraft is going super fast, but on the arrival it will always take a long time, and I don't get it. It's a lot longer than it should be. Fuel and hydraulics, so PTU, 0 pressure. Depressurizing now, 2,000 feet. Oh, that's cool, isn't it? I think we've checked this before, the cameras on this thing. You can check the rear of the airplane. That's so cool. Forward camera, aft camera, top. You can even get the hoods up display in the EVS. That's really cool, especially if you're on the ground and you're taxiing. You can't see the rear of the plane and things. That's extremely useful. Thank goodness it works as well. So CMC, you've even got a CMC here for maintenance. No diagnostics, extended, end of flight. These aren't functional, but I think the developer, based on like their consistency with updates, are in fact going to update this continually in the future. But again, we'll just wait and see. Fault history database currently 90% full. Okay, well we haven't really had many faults on this plane, to be fair. So this is really the sort of detail that separates things from being bad to good. So the way the spoilers are extended then is very slow because we're going quite fast, so the wind is preventing it from lifting up. It wouldn't stop it, but it would make it slower like it just did. Again, just that added level of realism which you can't really beat. Okay, we're below 250 now. We'll just maintain this. Let's descend 2,000 feet a minute. I think we could probably go straight to the center fix now. Let's do that. Okay, landing lights are coming on. We've got the logo light to put on as well. Seatbelts are on. We've got opening here for the enunciation. Let's do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just been
And then the sound of the water
Please make
starts.
sure your seatbelt is securely
That's so
fastened.
confusing, isn't it? They need to fix that audio though, get it to play when it's on the ground rather than in the air. I had the issue a few times last year actually, getting it to stop, and it seems impossible. It's probably going to have an issue turning around on this one, so we're going to continue and then we're going to extend it outwards. Let's take a heading mode. Everyone in the cabin is secure, so seatbelts. All this has been calculated. Again, we have to use this one to get the pre-landing checklist, but we'll put the gear down, these spoilers. Alarm them now, nice and early so don't forget it. Warning and inhibit when we're on final, and then we'll put flaps to full on final. Let's get the notch of flaps down, 10 degrees. I'm going to keep using the X-plane map as well on this, just to keep an eye out for other traffic. Like, aircraft is already ready to go, blimey. That was super quick. And we'll tune this in for the nav2 in case we need to use it in case we have a failure on nav1 or something. There she goes. About 200 knots now. We're trying to get down to 180. Let's just extend parallel to the runway a little bit. This turn onto Santa Fix, by the way, is going to be very steep regardless of where we are. And that'll be the final height. Then niche approach is usually very high. Auto throttle, we don't really need that. Select VNav. Again, we've had issues with this today. No issues on the when we're in the air up onto the first leg, but in the sort of ground operations we couldn't use it. There's no brakes in the flight plan. This is our go around procedure. So go around is straight to Neres again at 3,000 feet. I'd say that'd probably be better off at 4,000, but it is what it is, isn't it? This is what I talk about the approach as well. So if you guys notice, we're going pretty fast. We have a tailwind of 8 knots, and the aircraft is taking forever to do this part of the journey. So I think, and if you cross-check here with the speed as well, there's also it just seems a little bit off in terms of how long it actually takes it to do something. Yeah, let's get the LNAV back on. Big thank you, by the way, everyone, to recent subscribers and recent joiners of the streams and videos. We've just passed 300, and I've just passed 300 hours on the network as well, the online network. So I'm really glad about that. I'm hopefully going to get up to 1,000 hours very soon. Don't fly in the network all the time, of course, so there's many hours there not being logged. Let me know in chat, how many hours do you have? What is your favourite plane? Do you like this one or not? And again, once again, big thank you to all the newcomers and to the regulars. So much is appreciated. I'm glad you enjoyed the flight. Okay, VNav's now activated. Brilliant. This could take, honestly guys, at times like this, I wish I was flying in this Citation X, it'd probably be done by now. 2 hours 50 though, not too bad in total for the flight. Longer than I expected though, I was hoping it was going to be about 2.5 hours. Clearing up though, you can see something. See some clouds, some space down there, probably land. I'm hoping we get a view of the airport as well. We're going to be far out and final here. Nah, zero visibility. Would help, let's get the QNH. So I think it was 1002, wasn't it? It's gone up 1005. Should be down to 4,000 feet. Yeah, because just start moving now any second towards that final fix, because it can't do that sharp turn, so it's quite smart. It'll figure out it can't do it and it'll do it nice and early. It knows it can't turn that much. In general though, this aircraft is limited to 30 degrees. I wouldn't go any further than that. You probably don't even want to do 30 degrees on something like this, maybe even 25 would be fine. But this is what I'm talking about, so it's taken ages just to do 60 nautical miles, but if you fly the same speed in the Citation X, it'll do it really quick. So there's something going wrong in this with the speed, I think. It's not been programmed correctly. So it might say 200 knots, but the reality is that the X-Plane 12 might be registering it as a lot slower than that. So again, could be worth checking out those and making sure the V-speeds and things are correct. Right, so we go down now finally to final fix. I'm going to slow down now to 180. When we get below 200, I'll stick 15 degrees of flaps. We should localize the arm-it to navigation mode, so navigation 1. It is in fact picking up on the localizer already. Brilliant. Okay, there's the glide slope. It's already been intercepted. I'll activate the approach mode now because we can't see anything. Landing lights on, so pre-landing checklist is all completed now. We just got to lock onto this thing if the aircraft can do it. Seems to be locking on very well. And we have a 12 nautical mile final here to the runway. Just a brilliant approach for Nice. You always come in high and far away from the airport, which is, again, just very unique to this kind of airport. It's considering the trouble, probably because of the kind of weather it is and near the sort of terrain it is. Those higher mountains. 15 degrees of flaps. So we're on the approach now. Nice traffic, November 345 Lima Charlie is established on the ILS runway 04 left. We're on a 10 nautical mile final. And we should see the visibility of the runway any second. I'm hoping we get visibility because we're at minimums. Sort of at minimums, I guess, in terms of visibility for this plane. So reference speed, we're going to keep that in mind of 126 for landing, so about 137 for the approach. Gear coming down nice and early. Confirm down here we got some green lights. We got the AAA, and then over here we should have some greens. Yeah. We have a little bit of a crosswind for the right hand side of about 10 knots, but it's nothing for this plane. We'll go full flaps. It's keeping our speed. They want us to go about 131, which is 6 or 7 knots below what we need on approach. Okay, a visibility of 04 right, just about to see 04 left. I'm hoping the computer will guide us to the correct runway because they're very close together. Extremely close. These do seem a little bit off course. Wait and see if it corrects. We're losing the visibility. We're going to continue until we get to minimums. If we can't see in minimums, we'll make a decision at that height, but we should be able to see it. Try to keep the thrust setting where it is, and we'll maintain the glide slope by pitch. Okay, 1,000 feet. Let's get the autopilot off. We're approaching the minimums of 200 feet. It is looking fairly good. We are on track for the localizer as well. We're a little bit low.
Approaching minimums. Approaching minimums. 200.
Let's continue.
Minimums.
It's not too bad. It's a little bit steep.
100.
Okay, touchdown, reverses, spoilers. Reverses disengaged, we'll do some manual braking from this point on. Welcome to Nice, everybody. Welcome to France. Hope you had a nice trip. It's a little bit gloomy outside, but the landing was well, hopefully going to make you feel a lot better. Right, let's get our landing lights off. I'm going to do our taxi lights on. Nice fast taxi here, but we have got to be careful. We got wet conditions, which is not something I expected. So when we planned for the arrival, we actually planned for a dry runway, believe it or not. So performance would have been affected based on whether it's wet or not, and I know exactly where we're going to be parking, so we're going to hold here. We're going to do a post check. Great, would love to appreciate feedback on that landing as well. I did enjoy that. That was very, very good. Rough at the end though, rough. It was kind of wanted to yaw to the left, probably because of that crosswind. We managed to hold it. Let's get our strobes off. So that's the flight plan there to Nice completed. We just about made it. I think there's still one waypoint in there. Yes, let's get rid of that. Okay, APU, so get the flaps up. Spoilers are retracted. Ground spoilers are not armed anymore. Transponder to standby.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our destination airport. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign and we have parked at our parking stand. Thank you.
Let's just check the charts. I said I knew where we were going to park, but I can't remember where it is. So we need to go to Tango over here. Actually, we're pretty close to it. So uniform and then Tango, and you'll see what I mean by perfect parking. It's going to be the suitable space for this kind of plane. Right, text light on, APU master on, ground spoilers are unarmed, which is normal. APU door. And in wet conditions, everybody try and keep it slower, you know, below 15 knots is realistic. All the anti-ice can come off the wings and things. APU bleed air with the isolation switch. Absolutely incredible. Just absolutely incredible. When you get into this plane, you'll know what I mean by incredible experience. It just flies. And it handles so well. It is like the real thing, so you need more input, but when you come into land it feels really, really smooth, and it's a lot. It is hard to get it perfect, but when you get it perfect it's easy to do it. You know, it's easier than a I'd argue it's easier to land this than a 737 or an Airbus, because you know it's got that high angle of attack on final, so you're always going to naturally come down smoother, and we will watch that replay, everybody. Get the weather radars off. Never worked, but we'll turn them off anyway. Pressurization was 0 as normal. No smoke, fasten seatbelt signs can stay on. Good window heat can come off. Okay, we got quite a lot of planes over there. I thought it was going to be nice and empty, but we're supposed to be parking where those big planes are, the 747. Continue round, just monitor the area, manage to fit over aircraft. Looks like there's one actually taxiing down there. Maybe my imagination, there's nothing there. There is somebody on final though for runway 04 left. Yeah, looks like Air Canada and Anna's taking over the spaces in United Airlines.
Nice traffic, Germany 64 Juliet, we are 5 miles, 5 miles, 04 left.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so thank you airliners, you took up the elite parking spaces. We can make do with one here hopefully. Pray to God there's one. No, there isn't. Uh oh, we made a mistake here, guys. We've gone past the parking spaces, there's nothing available, so we may as well go here, because this one here is in fact space. I don't know if you can see it or not, but the sort of no entry sign is the beginning of taxiway tango there. We are on one here, let's park up. Parking brake is on, the APU generator is on there, the APU bleed air is on, let's get the windshield heats off. Interesting to see if the windows actually get misted up and things. Transponder's off. Fuel cut off. Taxi lights, logo lights. Let's just inhibit that.
Ladies and gentlemen, please check around your seat for any personal belongings you may have brought on board.
We'll open the
with you.
door, we'll say goodbye
On
to
behalf
everybody.
of our AKD Studio Airline and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Oh, blimey, that was loud. Careful with that door back there, jeez. Right, ground. We don't need ground power. We can't do static elements from outside, but we'll just leave them off for now. I think it will start in cold and dark next time anyway. Well, what an incredible flight, everybody. That is almost a shutdown, by the way. We should turn these off. And we should turn the panels off up here. You might want to keep them on for the monitoring of the engines, though. I'll shut the plane down off of the stream, but we will end it now. We will have the replay. I'll do the full shutdown when I'm off, and I will see you on the next one. So stick around if you want to see it. That was actually pretty good. A nice little fly there from all the way in Germany. Oh wow, look at that view. Isn't that good? Yeah, so all the way from Germany, Mannheim, one of my new bases, where the Gulfstream is situated, all the way down to Milano in Italy, and then through Italy down to France, one of my favourites, Nice Côte Airport. I don't have any hangars here, and I don't have any aircraft based here because it's not got the facilities we need, but we will be flying from Mannheim to Nice in the future as well, probably in a smaller jet. And we'll see how that goes. So thank you. Stick around for the replay. Thank you, NorCal Kev, for being here. Travelboff. Any of the regulars who are here and any new subscribers, you're more than welcome. All the best. Take care to the next flight.